Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Amped up, gritty, but kind of happy at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I enjoy the songs that are like, have got the grit, have got the dirt, but I suppose show the sadness, the grief, but the happiness as well and the hope, all at the same time. That's what I'm all about.
I can see that. And I knew that when I first heard you sing, I'll be honest, because like that comes across. And I think it does.
Does it?
I think it does, yeah.
A lot of people say that to me, and you know what? I used to be kind of not embarrassed, but kind of like a little bit. Yeah, well, no, I suppose yes, embarrassed by people saying, "Oh, all your emotions come out in your voice," and only now in the past year and a half have I realized, oh, you know what? That's actually a cool thing, because it's not a cool thing because of what everybody else thinks. It's a cool thing because that's actually what I am.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's what, do you think you're trying to do? Well, of course you would be trying to do that when you write a song. You're trying to get across emotions, and then you try to place that the best way you can if you're singing. So it would be I think it would be a lot worse if people said that to you, and then you're like, "Oh shit, I don't want to show any emotion."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
So if you give it stacks, and like
But
people are hearing your heartbreak and people are seeing your happiness, then that's exactly what you want.
Yeah. Oh no, but I mean, like you subtly asked, do you know, like, is that what you're trying to do? And as much as I would say no, well, as much as I would say yes, it's not really what I'm trying to do. It's just what comes out naturally, to be honest. Like I've never been trained to sing.
Yeah.
I've maybe been to one singing lesson in my life and I really, really hated it. To be honest, I really hated it. And so like anything that I come out with musically is just what comes out of me, out of my soul, out of what I really, out of necessity, really, like what I need to get out. So, I mean, at this point in time, I don't really care whether it's what I need, like what I want to get out, or whether I don't want it to get out. It's just what's happening.
There's no what or why. It just is.
Yeah, it just is, exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, and I just choose not to question it now, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, that's so you don't actively do it. It just is.
Yeah, like anything in life, to be honest. And I mean, that's what I draw a lot of my inspiration from, is life itself.
Yeah.
The dreaded topic of everyday life. What is life about? But I love to stand beside someone, and I love someone to ask me, what do you think about life? What's the meaning of life? What's meaningful to you? Because honestly, that's the only thing that really goes into songwriting. Whether songwriters say it or not, that's the only real thing that's going in there. And I just find it so interesting, because it's like, it's the unsaid thing of songs, of music. The unsaid, like, what do you really believe? What do you really think about? And it's in there if people want to find it in there, but in certain circumstances, it's only in there if you tell the people. So I'm the person to stand here, whether I'm sober or not. I will tell you the hard topics of life, because that's what I want to talk about. That's where I feel most comfortable. I don't know about you, like in your songwriting, where do you stand? I don't know. Like, I've only ever heard, I think, like instrumentals. like your original instrumentals from you and a load of covers from you, but like, what do you think about when you songwrite? You know, that's the interesting thing. What do you think about?
I always try to be. I try not to give my opinion. I try to let other people make up their mind with what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I find because I think that's a lot more effective in some circumstances. Like I'm currently writing, well, not writing, but recording an EP,
Uh-huh.
and the whole idea of it is like kind of. I have this idea in my head of kind of basing it on like kind of just people like walk into like a bar and people like you just generally have chats with, and it's I just want to give a story, and I'm not saying these people are bad or good. I just want to tell that story in
Yeah.
particular. Like whatever people say, um, I can't remember. I had a fucking cool like working title of what it was going to call it, but I can't remember it right now.
Must have not been a
Shit.
very good title then if you can't remember it.
Fair point. Fair
You
point.
remember it now though, so let's go. Like, let's
Well,
hear
I
it.
had the idea of calling, like, in my head, the pub was called The Guilty Conscience. Like, that was the name of the pub. So I just, but if I
Oh,
just
nice. Yeah.
put, yeah, but if I just put The Guilty Conscience on the EP, I would need to call it The Guilty Conscience Bar. But then that seems a bit too long. So I need to find a way to, like, see where it goes.
I think you just need to stop overthinking it, to be honest.
Perhaps I do. I do overthink. when it
But you
comes
know
to
what?
these things.
I think
Yeah.
that's a great thing. Like, that's not something that I've, you know, that's not something that I've thought about, is like creating a concept of, you know, you say you're creating an EP about a bar, and you know, you're creating this whole visual, and you know, I too am a very visual writer, but not in that way. And so I think that's a great thing, you know, naming your EP The Guilty Conscience. And I think it's really interesting that nobody will know what that is until they look into, you know, they really dive into really what it's about, you know.
Yeah, I think it's from just a writing perspective, it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I always find I relate more to very specific points in time when I'm writing,
Uh-huh.
and like specific people and things they've told me. There's just little things I latch on to rather than I suppose what a lot of pop music writes about. Like there's definitely a deeper thing I like to cling on to. But I think you do as well with your writing. I think
Oh,
you like to-
totally. Yeah. Like, I think that we are completely on the same wavelength here in terms of, like, say you're on a night out and this big event happened, and you know, if you're in Belfast, you know, some guy got off with another girl or hit a girl, or whatever the fuck happens. And but what we actually pay attention to is a sentence that some random guy that isn't even in the bar anymore says like 2 hours before that.
Precisely.
Yeah, and what he says has like the whole universe in his sentence, and so I completely understand what you mean.
Oh my god, Amy, I want to co-write with you at some point. That'd be so good.
I really feel